Hello and welcome back to the railway. This week we have a presentation pack with some additional coaches. This was R.346 Stephenson's rocket train, available 1963 to 67, and the extra coaches were model number R621, available 1963 to 66. The locomotive R651 and tender R652 seem to have been available separately as well, from 1963 through to around 1969, although don't always appear in the catalogue. I think we'll have a closer look at the model now.
So here we have the Stephenson's rocket with the tender and the coach which would have come in the box, and here's some of the items that came along in the box with it. Now we'll have a quick look at the box. So there it is, a window box. I think it would be that way up, and we can see where the coach, tender and locomotive would have sat. On this end we can see the mice have eaten away at this one, and the sticky labels partially vanished there. We can just see 346 there where the tape used to be. And turning it around, there we can see Trying Railways, and the paper label still intact, R346 Stephenson's rocket train. The price ticket seems to have been taken away there. You can see something's been stuck there at some point, but it's long gone. So if we put that back down. Now I do have two other coaches as we've seen on the layout, and one of them is in its original box. Quite a pretty little box this. Again, R261 railway coach for Stephenson's rocket. There we go. There's no price on here at all. Again, always nice to have these things. The other coach I have is in the wrong box, and this is a box for a brake van of some sort. I can't read the number there, and it just says in biro rocket coach. So we'll just put that to one side. And here are the items that came in the box along with it. We've got crew, so there we go, but it's still originally sealed in its cellophane with a rusty staple in there, so I think we'll leave them safely in the packet. We've got a capsule of smoke oil here, and this should have a spare smoking pipe to go in the Sooth smoking tube here, but somebody's already used that. It's quite nice to have. The oil seems to be going black inside the tube there, so we'll put that to one side. And this little piece of card would have sat between the wheels when the box was first new, and it says here, remove this tab before operating model. Do not connect directly or direct to mains. Ensure model is properly oiled before using. Read instructions carefully. Nothing on the other side. Always good to read the instructions. So the instructions seem to have come with a supplement printed in red, so it's possibly quite important to have read these, and that's quite nice to have too. So we'll just pop that to one side also. And the original instruction sheet here with the date on it and the model number, and we can see R346 17th of the 12th 63. So this was in its first year of production when it was first available. So if we open that out, it's got some general information about operations and powering up the track. Now we've got some more individual diagrams which are specific to this model and the smoke unit and maintenance. And they are replacing the smoke pipe, which has obviously already been done with this model. So we'll put those to one side, and then we'll have a closer look at the model. And here we have the rocket, and we can see it says so here, just on the side of the boiler. We've got these beautiful spoked wheels painted yellow, and they have steel tyres, and we've got the Magnate just here, so we have that extra pulling power. Obviously no drive wheel at the back here, but it does pick up current. Got these nice little connection rods and lovely piston detail here. We've got this pipe running all the way around here and all sorts of things moulded on here. As we'll see when we look at the other side, the detail is significantly different on the other side on the pistons. We have a regulator pipe here running the full length of the boiler and into the bottom of the chimney here. The chimneys is a metal tube with this little corona on top here, and it is slightly bent, but I don't want to try and bend it back in case it fractures and breaks. And we've got the chimney stays here, and we've got these sort of domes and things here I think these were made in brass originally, but they've tarnished and gone black. And we've got a little bit of moulded detail. Lovely sort of planking detail cladding here with black straps painted on around there. And then moving on back to the tender, again you've got this wooden effect planking down the sides, basic suspension detail, and we're losing a little bit of paint detail there, and we can just see spoked wheels at the back here. We've got this lovely barrel with black straps and a filler on the top, and we've got a coal load there moulded into the floor. We can see planking detail there also. Now that black piece there is actually metal and does add weight to the tender. Now looking from the other side, we can clearly see it says rocket along the side there, and we've got the regulator pipe, but we can see this piston has significantly different detail here, so we've just lost that pipe we can see there. Now we've got a little bit of detail moulded into the chassis here as part of the casting, and there's the screw that holds the two parts of the chassis together. And we've got a little bit of riveting down the side of the firebox here. Looking in more detail at the back here, we can see the footplate, and underneath the footplate we've got the pin as part of the chassis where the tender hooks onto. And here we have firebox detail. It's quite basic. We've got that riveted detail up the side of the firebox here, and here we can see the regulator pipe running down the sides of the boiler there, both sides, and what must be the regulator there. And here's the chimney stays, and they're secured into this little plastic tab there. And again, this extra moulded detail pipework here on the cylinder on this side of the locomotive. And looking at the back of the tender here, we can see this wooden planking details continued around the back, and then we've got this standard triangle decoupling here. It really does look very overscale on this model. Looking in detail at the front here, we can see the chimney is pushed onto the chassis here. The chassis is cast in two separate metal parts and joined together, and it's insulated. So the power pickup comes from both sides, from both sets of wheels. Quite ingenious really, and then it supplies power to the X500 motor. And we can see the drive cog there situated between the two wheels. Then looking from above, we can see that Corona there with those slight bent petals on it there, and that's the smoking unit there. We'll have a look at that run in a moment. When we can see the chimney stairs have a slight bend in them, I think it's seen better days. It's well used, this model, and you can see how it will be secured just under this little plastic tab here. And there we have the regulator. We can see those regulator pipes running down both sides of the boiler to the chimney. And here we can see the Magnate working here. If I pick up the locomotive, it'll bring this piece of Super 4 track with it. So that's quite strong, so it should have plenty of pulling power. Now looking at the top of the tender here, again the coal load, and we can see that planking detail moulded into this weight here. And this barrel is clearly moulded in two separate parts there. And again, this decoupling does look rather overscale, as we mentioned earlier. Looking from underneath, we can see the traction magnet mounted between the two drive wheels here, held to the chassis with a single screw. So that supplies the Magnate power down to the tracks through these steel-tied wheels. Now the wheels are pushed in separately onto a plastic axle, which the drive cog's mounted on. And looking down here, we can see the triangle name, and it says R651, built in Britain. Now this was model R651 by itself, but when the box with the coach, it was R.346, Stephenson's rocket train. Now the back axle is also plastic, and the wheels are pushed in separately from both sides, so they're insulated so they can pick up current. So we've got pickup on both of these. And if we look carefully here, we can see the chassis is separated to two halves here with an insulation strip there. Quite an ingenious thing really, but very complicated to work on. Here's the underneath of the tender. We can see we've got these plastic spoked wheels, and they've got pinpoint axles, and here we have the eye which holds the locomotive and tender together there. Very basic. Great big decoupling there, held into the tender with a single flathead screw there. And I don't know whether we can see in here, it says Triang R652, so that was the individual model number for the tender, and it says made in England there. Here we've got these great little coaches. They had different names. This one's called Dispatch. There was also Experience and Times, and we can see here it says Liverpool and Manchester Railway Company. Full of detail along the sides here. We've got a step under each of the doors. We've got underframe detail. It's all painted black. And then we have a step up on the buffer here, leading to more steps which give you access to the roof, and we've got some interesting detail here up on the roof. So looking at the coach in more detail underneath here, we can see we've got the name Triang here and the model number R.346 and then made in England. And these are plastic wheels with axles with pinpoints, so they're quite nice and smooth. And we've got the standard Triang decouplings here held in with a flathead screw. And here we've got the buffers, which I believe are separately fitted, and they look like they're made from plastic. I'm just turning it over here. We've got the suspension detail, springs and whatnot here, all painted in black.
So we'll just warm up the smoke unit here, and we'll get some smoke. There she goes. Beautiful effect, isn't it? Just look how quick those wheels are going. Now that's full power on the controller. I can't get it to run that quick on the track. And when you do have it running on the track, current's drawn to the motor rather than the smoke unit, so it leaves the smoke unit running slightly cooler, I think. It does get very hot though when you're running it, but not hot enough to produce the smoke. I think we'll get back to the railway now. Now off she goes again for one final run, going around to approach the station with all the points and diamond crossings. She's undoubtedly quite a poor performer on these, and I have avoided these today. Now, around the third radius curve and up the incline. Now, she did appear again in 1968 to 69 in a presentation set with all three coaches, a very pretty set. And then again, in 1982 in the Hornby Railways period, she appeared again, another presentation set with all three coaches. Now, I believe at that time when she reappeared, it was with plated wheels. Now, that may well have improved her performance, with slightly finer flanges as well. Looking excellent passing Britannia there. And around under the incline section, back towards the station, just look at the stutter on those. And that's as good as we can get her to run there. And they are big dead spots in those diamond crossings and points. Now this week, I think I'll leave you with page 3 of the 1963 catalogue, the year she was announced. Notice how she has brown wheels. And then we'll have page 14 of the 1964 catalogue, when she was first listed as a presentation set. Thank you very much for watching. Goodbye now.